Hi guys, today's video is a wet one. As it has been raining quite a lot and we've had weather warnings and yellow warnings and thunderstorms and floods all over the country, thought it'd be good to do a short video-ish on driving in the wet weather. So I'm going to roll the video. It's me driving along. I'm going to commentate. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. I'm going to tell you what I need to consider when driving in the rain. Hope you enjoy it. Let's watch it. So one of the first things you need to consider is that the stopping distance when driving in the rain is doubled. So if the stopping distance is doubled, the following distance will need to double. Now our normal following distance, as you probably know from doing your theory test, if you've done it, is 2 seconds. So a safe gap of 2 seconds as you're driving along. So in the rain, that needs to go to 4 seconds. So we can do this, we can judge this without looking at our watch. We can judge this by looking at the vehicle in front. Now the lorry is going to slow down and turn into a side street, so that's no good. But later on, we're going to follow a green car. And what we can do is when that green car goes past, say, for example, a lamppost or something stationary, we should be able to count to 4 and then we should pass said object. If we can't count to 4, we're obviously way too close and we need to drop back. When driving in the rain, obviously, you're going to need to know how to use the wipers. So get familiar with the car that you're driving. Some cars you have to push the window wiper stalk up, sometimes you have to push it down. In my car, I push it down to turn it on and push it up to turn it off. Some cars are really clever and they've got an auto switch. You could use the auto switch and the car will then decide when it needs to put the wipers on for itself. Sometimes we find this is a little bit erratic, either too slow or too fast, but have a go at it. A lot of the time when it rains, as per this video, it gets a bit grey and dark outside. So obviously with the wipers, you want to be able to see, but putting your lights on allows you to be seen. That's something to bear in mind. So headlights on, so dipped headlights is what we're looking for. We're not looking for parking lights. Parking lights are for parking on a road with a speed limit above 30 and no street lighting. So remember guys, it's dipped headlights. When it's wet outside and it's nice and warm inside, what happens to the windows? They steam up. So another thing you need to consider when you're driving in the rain is your demisters. So you need to locate your front demister and your rear demister and make sure they're good and they work properly. Some cars I've been in are awful. They're absolutely terrible. So make sure you can crank it up to demist that front and side windows and the back window if needs be. Something that tends not to happen very often is something called aquaplaning. We've got to bear this in mind. Now, normally this happens when you're traveling at high speed, potentially on a motorway or dual carriageway. Now, aquaplaning is really, really simple. It's basically a very large expanse of water in front of you, which when you go over too fast, it will act like you're going on a surfboard and you're going across the top of the water. What will happen is the steering will feel very, very light and you will lose potentially grip and control. A way to overcome this is to release the gas and then gently apply the brake pedal, but not too suddenly. And then what you'll find is the car will slow down and you'll be back in contact with the road and you won't be surfing over the top of the puddle. Gotta be careful. Big puddles do exist on the roads. As you can see, we've got a very wet road here and we've got small puddles, but sometimes they are big puddles. You've got to try to avoid splashing pedestrians. Believe it or not, there's a fine of up to £2,500 for purposely splashing a pedestrian. So keep your eyes peeled, try and dodge the puddles, try not to splash those pedestrians. If there is a puddle across the road, we need to treat this like a hazard. Maybe on the approach, think of it as a parked car. Checking your mirrors on the approach, signalling with your brakes, slowing things down, and maybe even stopping. If it's that big, you might even need to stop and wait for the oncoming traffic to actually go by before you go around it yourself, okay? You don't want to flood your car. If you flood your car, you're going to be stranded in the middle of nowhere, potentially, of no way of getting home, okay? So sometimes Puddles will hide potholes and loose drains. Now again, we all have seen the potholes nowadays, they're getting bigger and bigger. The council haven't got the money, they can't fill them up. So sometimes the rain will fill these potholes, making it just look like a puddle, and you're going to go smashing through a massive pothole. Real big damage can be made to your car, so do avoid puddles which are at the side of the road, or anywhere really. Any type of big puddle that you think, oh, that looks a bit dodgy, just avoid. You do not want to be smashing through a drain or a pothole or something like that. You'll really damage your car. When driving through the countryside like this and it's wet, please be aware that there are fields and farms all around. Sometimes the tractors and the lorries, they'll bring on mud from the field onto the road, and that then becomes mega slippery. Mud is slippery. If you're going to drive on mud, again, use your common sense, slow things down, just bring the speed down so that if you do have to stop suddenly, it's not going to take you so long. Making sure your tyres are in good condition is another thing. Now, please go and check your tyres if you've got your own car. You are looking for 1.6 millimeters across 3/4 of the width of the tyre. Shouldn't be any cuts or bulges. But 1.6 mil is just not enough. We recommend about 3 mil, and so do the garages. If your tyres get to about 3 mil, it's probably time, if going into winter, it's probably time to get shot and get some new tyres. But 1.6 millimeters, that is the bare minimum. So do go and check them with a reliable gauge. Another thing that can happen when you're driving on the road when it's raining is spray from other vehicles. The other vehicle coming the other way will splash you or spray you. If it's a case of that the splash goes across your windscreen, like sometimes it does, I've had that before on driving lessons and the pupils panic, all you have to do is just slow down. Within a couple of seconds, your windscreen's going to be clear again, so it's not a problem. Now, when we go from hot weather to wet weather, what we're going to find is the roads have been nice and dry for a long period, then the rain comes down and that makes the roads super slippery. So again, be aware that after a long period of sunshine or warm weather, the rain can come down and that is going to make the road mega slippery. So be aware of that, and be aware and just take the time and slow things down. Look also for roads that don't look like they've got much grip on. So you know, the roads that are kind of rough, they're the ones with the grip. So they're okay, you're going to have a nice lot of grip. But the smooth roads, they're going to be the ones that are wet and slippery, and they're going to be treacherous in the wet weather. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.